This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Hey team, how are we doing? Welcome to the Crypto Conversation. I know in my audience I've got a lot of different types of people. We've got executives, business owners, crypto traders, tech entrepreneurs, and if that is you, then no doubt you are juggling competing priorities all day, every day. Ever feel like your brain is being pulled in a million different directions? And to make matters worse, you can be often sabotaged by a whole heap of interruptions. Yeah, I know how you feel. Some days you just feel totally frustrated because it feels like you're stuck in first gear and redlining for hours at a time. What can you do to break free and accelerate to the next level? Well, Elon Musk's Neuralink, that's on the way, but probably a long way off. Luckily, folks, there is a safe and effective solution that is available right now, and they are a new sponsor here at the Crypto Conversation. I'm talking about Newtopia. Newtopia was created to help high achievers like you break through barriers and achieve more faster than you ever thought possible. Newtopia offers a variety of nootropic stacks designed to boost memory, cognitive function, and energy levels. Taking the right formulas at the right times can help you focus, block out distractions, reduce stress and anxiety, and enhance your creativity. And you'll be amazed by how quickly they work. You can feel the mental effects within just 15 to 30 minutes. Plus, what's really cool about Newtopia is every stack was formulated by a man who is described as the most advanced brain chemist and nootropics formulator alive today. Secondly, every formula is customized for you based on your strengths, weaknesses, and goals, so you get exactly what you need. How much is 1 hour of your time worth? What if you could reclaim 5 hours of productive time every week? Would that have an impact on your bottom line? Well, Newtopia's formulas are a total game changer, and they also come with a full 1 year guarantee, so there's zero risk for you if you want to try them out. So, ready to upgrade your brain? Simply go to newtopia.com/crypto and use the code crypto10, that's crypto10, to receive 10% off any order. And again, the website is Newtopia, that's NOOTOPIA.com/crypto, and the code crypto10 or crypto10. All right, let's get on with the show. My guest today is João Ferreira. He is the founder of DeFi Basket, which is a portfolio management protocol that lets users buy a DeFi portfolio in one single transaction. Very cool, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andy. Super happy to be here doing my first podcast in English, actually. So
really?
Looking forward to chat and
awesome.
Having a great time here.
Hey, well, I hope we can have a great time. It is great to have you here. So let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. Could you please introduce yourself? I'd love it if you could tell me and the listeners a little bit about your background, where you're from, and your personal story, just what you've been doing in the lead up to getting involved with DeFi.
Okay, sure. So my name is João Ferreira. I'm actually from Brazil. Been working mostly with data and operations. I started out in finance. Then I moved to tech, working at Uber for a while. Eventually, in 2020, wasn't happy with my career and the path I was taking in work, which is quite an important aspect of life for me, and decided to take a sabbatical. In that sabbatical, I studied many different things, mostly data related. And eventually I took a Solidity course, which is the programming language for the Ethereum smart contracts, and started playing around with that. So I took the course, it was December 2020. By February 2021, I was already playing around with Pedro, who eventually would be my co-founder in building some applications and some DeFi applications. So basically, I understood a bit of what you could do with the smart contracts and couldn't stop from there. I was bitten by the bug. DeFi was a fantastic thing for me. So in 2021, like February 2021, we were already playing with some idea on how we could get ETFs on chain. We started showing it around to people that were more experienced in Web3, getting feedback, iterating. And eventually we came down to DeFi Basket, which is not really an ETF tool, but it's something where you can buy many assets, but you can also manage, you can also claim rewards, and you can do those really specific kinds of things you can do in DeFi, but on like a native smart contract way and interacting with a bunch of things and basically simplifying all the actions you can take on chain into a single transaction.
Yeah, that is right. And you know, who would you say then is the target user of DeFi Basket? Are you aiming this at, like, is it for DeFi power users, or is it for people that are just looking for an easy DeFi solution, or is it across the board, do you think?
That's a great question, Andy. Like initially, we're targeting uh, users that were not familiar at all with DeFi. So basically, people that had some money in a centralized exchange, and we thought those people would be the easiest one to target and to bring into DeFi Basket, just because what we're delivering is ease of use. What we found out is that the people that were using us were mostly power users. So those people came in for DeFi Basket just to get an easier way to manage their portfolio, their farming pools, and things like that. So that's who we're building for right now, and how our hypothesis there so far is that the hassle of having a wallet to have a key and to need to take care of that is still quite a big undertaking. So it's much easier to target people that already have done that and already have familiarity, and to build from there to a wider audience.
Yeah, I think that's right, and you know, I do like and appreciate the fact that platforms such as you guys at DeFi Basket, you know, you are making it perhaps a little bit more accessible. You know, so you talk about how DeFi Basket can batch everything into a single transaction. It's a more simple, streamlined UI, trying to abstract away some of the complexity of DeFi, but still maintaining, you know, the decentralized on-chain nature of DeFi itself. But of course, you're exactly right. The user still is responsible for their own keys and control of their own assets, and well, it's still easy for things to go wrong, so people still need to invest the time and energy to know how to look after their assets and know what they're doing, right?
Exactly. And eventually, I think we'll probably get to, I'm hoping we're getting to a wallet that is still decentralized, but has like good social recovery and things like that, that makes it much easier for your everyday person to use it. But just asking my mom to keep track of 12 words and not share anyone seems too much of a challenge this time.
Yeah, that is exactly right. All right, well, let's learn a bit more about a DeFi basket then. So, I suppose the big idea, if you like, is being able to invest in different pools, farms, liquidity pools, all across the wonderful world of DeFi. But you know, you guys make it easy, and you do it by creating what you call baskets, right? So a basket is a collection of different assets that can be tokens, pools, or yield farming assets, strategies from any number of different DeFi protocols. So yeah, talk us through how these baskets work.
Exactly, Andy. So basically, a basket can hold anything. That's the main differentiator we have going for DeFi Basket at the moment. So it just can plug and play DeFi Basket with any protocol we want to.
Yeah.
To give you a sense of how we're structured right now, we have 11 integrations. So we're integrated with Jarvis, we're integrated with Curve, with Harvest. And those three integrations, for example, they enable us to do something really cool. Like Jarvis has this amazing stablecoin farming opportunities. To build those manually, it's quite hard. You would need first to mint stablecoins, then you need to add liquidity to Curve. And first of all, you need to know where you would go to mint those stablecoins. First time I minted those, I spent just a few hours trying to figure out the optimal path to do it. It was not very intuitive, even for me as an advanced user. Then you go to Curve, add liquidity. You need to approve stablecoin. Then you need to go to Harvest, approve the use of liquidity to token, deposits in Harvest, and then stake. Each of those steps is a transaction, so it takes a lot of time. We basically build that in a single transaction, but we go a step beyond that, and we enable you to build a portfolio of stable coins in a single transaction. So something that would take you a few hours to build, we just batch everything in a single transaction. You have it ready on the other side. And one really cool thing that happens once you do something like that is that if you want to harvest rewards, you can do like for all your stablecoin assets at the same time. If you want to withdraw, you need to cash out really fast for whatever reason. You can do it in a single transaction. So you get a lot of ease to keep managing that portfolio. The way I like to think about it, it's almost as a smart wallet. So it behaves very similarly as you would, as MetaMask would behave or any other wallet. The difference is you can batch transactions and you can manage the assets there and there very, very easily.
Yeah, so talk to me then about, I'm just looking at the DeFi Basket Twitter, and you talk about the new yield farming program from Jarvis Network is already live on DeFi Basket, and then you talk about some of the assets that are supported there, various liquidity providers, and says the current program is paying lower rewards than the previous ones. However, it is still quite attractive, especially the NZD pool, which has double digits APY. So maybe just talk us through, this is a good example. What is this particular basket? Is this the stablecoin basket?
It is a stablecoin basket. Let me check. I was not the one that posted that tweet, so it might be. I'm in a different time zone than my team, so
yeah, sure.
It might be.
It's from 17 hours ago. Starts off with "Hey Basket Farmer."
Okay, so basically this is news that Jarvis has restarted the incentives. They usually do like a 2-month incentive program. And we had to make some updates on our end just to make sure we were reading the rewards correctly. So that's what that is about. But just going back to your question, yes, NZD has the best yield so far. In all of the Jarvis stablecoins, NZD, I think, is what's paying most by far. I think it's something like 15%.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate. We do have a few baskets with NZD on it. Basically, like the flow to create baskets is you can either copy an existing basket, but any person can create a basket as well. And as we have lots of advanced users, most of the baskets we're seeing are created or tweaked in some sense. So people may initially like even copy an existing basket, but eventually they might change a location because NZD is paying a higher APY. They want more exposure to NZD or something like that. But yes, and we are also creating in partnership with the Tech and Mint guys, QE basket, which is just a stablecoin basket with a huge exposure to NZD and huge APYs as well. So excited about that.
What's that basket called? Sorry,
Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because of course,
Kiwi
you know,
basket.
and obviously I know the Tech and Mint guys well because They're Kiwis, and they're based here in New Zealand, which is where I'm based because I'm a Kiwi. So I should have been able to pick up that you've called you're calling that Kiwi Basket. So is that available yet? Is that launched?
It should launch in a week or so. We're almost there.
Yeah.
The basket is ready. We just need to do the PR around it.
And that will that just be the New Zealand dollar stablecoin, the NZDS? Is that the only asset in that basket?
It would be mainly NZDS, but we would also have other assets, but in a smaller proportion. I think if more than half is NZDS.
Nice, very nice. And so I was just looking, something else I found quite interesting is, when the users, DeFi users, they're using one of these baskets, they're putting some money in. When you invest in a basket, you receive a token of ownership, right, which is given to the user in the form of an NFT, which shows how much the user owns of each asset in that particular basket. And as I understand it, because it's an NFT, a digital asset, it can be transferred, lent, or do anything else that you want with that NFT. So yeah, that's quite fascinating. Talk us through the thinking behind that and what kind of use cases people are using those NFTs for.
Amazing. Great question. So the reason we decided to go to NFT is actually a quite technical reason to begin with. So the way we structure the portfolios is basically as smart wallets. So whenever you copy an existing portfolio, what you're doing is actually creating a new portfolio from scratch, like under the hood. So there's a new portfolio that's yours and that has funds that only you can access. And we basically make all the transactions necessary to copy that portfolio allocation. So let's say you copy the Kiwi portfolio that has NZD on it, but also has a bit of Canadian dollar and Singapore dollar. We would mint the stablecoins for each of those. We would add liquidity for each of those pools, and we would stake that liquidity somewhere just for your portfolio. So you have this portfolio that has all the assets, is fully collateralized, but it always executes at slightly different prices. So portfolio is never exactly the same. For example, in original portfolio, you can have an allocation of NECD which 50.05% of the portfolio. When you copy it, you might change it slightly for 50.03. And just as allocations and execution prices and slippage differ between baskets, the best way to represent it was an NFT, just because portfolios are always slightly different. And
yes.
The really cool thing about having an NFT is you can build applications on top of it. So eventually you can use that NFT for collateral. Let's say you don't want to sell your portfolio, you're bullish in your crypto. In a similar use case you have for something like Aave or Compound, but that usually leave tokens as collateral. You can leave your portfolio NFT as collateral and take some assets against it. So that's the sort of thing that led us to deciding to have some sort of ticket on the other end of the deposit to basically enable composability. And the things that we got from it right now, one is you got the ability to gift NFTs. So let's say you want to onboard someone into crypto, you just can create a basket from them and transfer the NFT. They will have their portfolio. And then another cool thing that happens is that you can move money between wallets. So let's say you start with the hot wallet. Eventually, you learn that that's not the safest way. You can move your whole portfolio to a cold wallet instead of doing it asset by asset.
Yeah, that's really cool. So someone could put together their own bespoke portfolio of baskets and then mint it all to an NFT, gift that to someone and put it into cold storage, and boom, just let it do its thing for 10 years or so, right?
Yeah. It should be a really easy way to transfer a whole portfolio from wallet to wallet and enable a few different use cases from that.
Absolutely. I want to pick up on something you said at the beginning. You talked about, I think, replicating ETFs or creating, ETPs, which I guess are kind of similar. But can you talk through the thinking there and maybe why you've kind of pivoted away from that slightly?
Okay. So the thinking there was pretty straightforward. Myself and my co-founder, we both like investing in ETFs for traditional markets. So one of the first things we noticed when we started looking at DeFi is that it seems like this primitive is missing from this space. There were a few players, but it wasn't so common at the time. This was like early 2021. There was token sets and Enzyme, but they were not that huge. So it seems like a prosperous space to build in. We had a few different hypotheses. Eventually, when we started building it, there's a few challenges. First, a lot of the assets are not native, so we're building on Polygon. To build something like a crypto ETF for top 20 coins and things like that, it can get quite challenging. You don't have liquidity for it. So it diminishes a bit the use case. And the other thing is it wasn't a very easy thing to sell. Like the thing that people were like using our product the most was basically to manage portfolios and to create complex positions and to keep harvesting, claiming rewards from that. So we're basically going with the flow here, and that's how our tool was used, and we basically got that information, and we're building more on that direction than initially going on the ETF route.
Got it.
And in the process, something interesting happened as well. At first, when I'm saying ETFs, I'm thinking about basically a basket of tokens. So just playing your C20 tokens, you're not staking those tokens anywhere. You're not getting yield on those tokens. Eventually, this is DeFi. Getting yield is something super native. Doesn't really make sense to have like a so-called DTF protocol without getting those subtleties of DeFi and getting staking yield and even like adding liquidity and things like that. So we basically built this version, which was a basket of anything you want. At that point, we stopped calling it an ETF that much. It was already something a bit different.
Yeah, nice. Got it. So, and I'd be interested in your thoughts. And do you think of other DeFi protocols and platforms such as Balancer? There used to be token sets. Do you think of these other platforms and protocols as like collaborators, as competitors? Do you have kind of unique functionality yourself? Like, I mean, I'm not a DeFi power user myself, but I love this idea of being able to mint all these DeFi baskets, down into one NFT that you can then, put on OpenSea or just gift it. That is cool. How do you think you compare to the other platforms and protocols?
Cool. So Balancer first, we actually got a grant from Balancer, and we are also integrated on Balancer. So you can like get money in Balancer pools through DeFi Basket. it works more as like a fund of funds than a fund per se. So and there is this quite big difference, like on the simulations. Like one of the first questions we had to answer when we were building DeFi Basket was if we were going to take the balancer route and get this kind of portfolios that have those stable weights and things like that, or if you would just basically be a buy and hold portfolio, just you get whatever tokens, you don't change the allocations, and you leave it as is. One of the things at the moment is that, especially like if you're dealing with many assets and you have assets that were initially a small part of your allocation and become a really big part of your allocation, and and one of the things when you want, like when you're doing like an ETF or getting exposure to a wide variety of assets, is actually to get that exposure and to be able to capture the upside of a small asset becoming really big. When you go to models such as Balancer, you basically get fees, which is the positive part of it, but you don't get that much exposure because every time the asset is increasing in price, you're selling it. So that like even if the asset 10x, your allocation of that asset would dramatically drop through time. So I think it's basically a fundamentally different product. So we're approaching that much more as a collaborator point of view than as a direct competitor. For token sets, on the other hand, I think it's I can see some collaboration there still. Like we have DPI on DeFi Basket, which is the DeFi Pulse index token. But I think functionality-wise, it's much closer than Balancer is to DeFi Basket. So although there is a bit of collaboration, I don't think we will be like a super strong partnership going forward. And the main way we have been differentiating from token sets so far is basically in adding many different assets. So we have liquidity pools, we have harvest pools, we have like those Jarvis stablecoins, which are basically minting and redeeming. We can do this different things with the different portfolios and basically build anything we want on DeFi Basket and make that easily copyable and clonable by other people. So yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well, as we finish off this part of the podcast, I'd love to just understand anything you can share in terms of, where you're at the moment, where you're trying to get, what stage is DeFi Basket at the moment? Like, do you still think of yourselves as in beta? What can you share in terms of user growth, user metrics? What is coming up? You talked about the Kiwi basket, so looking forward to that. Just talk us through where the platform is at the moment and where you're going and what's coming down the pipeline.
Okay, so DeFi Basket is in beta right now. It has been in a public beta for a few months. Basically, like the step we're at right now is getting feedback from the users. We got a bunch of great feedback, and we're basically fixing things, ensuring that our data feeds are perfect, ensuring that our execution routes for swaps and like that are super robust, and even if we take a hit on one of our providers, we'll still be working properly. So we're basically preparing for a launch, going like from beta to like actually an actual launch. So that's where our heads are at the moment. After that, next step is basically to add more protocols. So we are integrated with 11 protocols on Polygon. The idea is to get like the top 20 to top 30 protocols on DeFi Basket, so you can easily like get any position you want in like the main protocols on the network. That's a very important thing. Like if we're not integrated widely enough, the use case for DeFi Basket becomes much smaller, as you like there are things you need to go outside of DeFi Basket to look for. So the idea is to build our network and have everything that's important in Polygon on our platform. And after that, I think it becomes more interesting, or more like a different product than what we currently have on the market right now. So we have been thinking quite a bit about blockchain interoperability. And in a way, what we have done so far is basically to abstract transactions. So you can do like whatever operation you want with DeFi, and you don't really have to worry about managing transactions, doing approves, and going to a few different UIs and building the transactions. The one possible next step for that, and something that I find quite fascinating actually, is to abstract which chain you're at right now. So not sure if you already played with that, Andy, but like having money on 5 different chains is not a fun experience, at least not for me. You always need like to have gas on a specific chain, and it's always hard to like, what bridge should I use for chain A to chain B, and like the bridges are quite specific to chains. It can be a quite overwhelming process in my experience to manage money in quite a few different chains. And after that, you just like need to remember where you put money. That can be challenging as well. It's very easy to be very spread thin. So what we're building is, or what we have played around. Just to give you a spoiler, we guarantee that it's technically feasible, so that's possible. But the idea is you build a portfolio on Polygon, but you can like build a portfolio on Polygon, Arbitrum, and Optimism, all the 3 at the same time. And you build a portfolio from Polygon, from Optimism, or from Arbitrum, it doesn't really matter. And you can keep managing it from a single chain. And if you want to change chains, you can keep managing that. So it's basically abstracting chain. You just worry about getting gas in a single chain and getting funds in a single chain. And we take care of like doing the bridges, doing the swaps in the other chains, and everything on that sense. So you get like native assets in a few different chains with quite a lot of fees. So that's the way you're probably going to head forward.
Yeah, nice. And I suppose it's kind of reassuring, will be for the listeners and myself as well, to hear that, you know, even DeFi power users such as yourself can occasionally find it overwhelming with, you know, various bridges across chains. And of course, just remembering all your different wallets and chains that you've interacted with and got money stored on. And yeah, it's just can be overwhelming indeed.
Yeah, and that's what we're working on, right? So on one hand, it's overwhelming. On the other hand, I think it's a huge opportunity. Whoever solves that has a shot at, I think, a pretty significant marketplace or business.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that feels like a nice place to go to a very quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll have some fun. We'll finish off. We'll run you through the very famous Crypto Conversation hot take round. Back in 1 second.
For crypto indices and benchmarking, Brave New Coin's powerful indexing engine can calculate high-frequency intraday and end-of-day indices for a wide range of index products. Brave New Coin's custom indices team delivers experienced consultancy, premium data, and trusted calculation. Contact BNC today to find out more.
All right, we're back, and I'm with João Ferreira. He is the founder of DeFi Basket, a portfolio management protocol. It's in beta, but man, it does look good. And the idea is users can buy a DeFi portfolio or a basket, you know, kind of the same thing, just with one single transaction. Very much a need for these kinds of products, platforms, and protocols. So be excited to watch the progress of a DeFi Basket. But hey, João, I'd like to finish each podcast with a quick round rapid fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Sure, let's go.
Let's go. All right, question 1. My man, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist? It's always a bit weird to ask this question to a DeFi power user. Where would you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I don't think I'm on any of the streams, actually. I think I'm a slightly Ethereum Maxi, but I'm keeping my eyes open and basically quite open for whatever is happening on the space and whatever is attracting users and TVL. So I'm playing around a bit with quite a few chains.
Nice. And I guess, you know, big news with Ethereum, of course, is the merge, which is fast approaching. I don't know how we approach this in hot take style, but yeah, the merge. Anything in particular that you're worried about, or are you just excited to see this finally go through?
Just excited. I mean, some weird things might happen, but it seems like the team made a very thorough job in guaranteeing that it will go smooth. Everything I have been reading seems like all the tests so far went smooth. The testnet merges were all smooth. So let's see how that goes. But like, and even if it doesn't, like, we have some weird phenomena happen out of that merge, I'm still super bullish on the Ethereum community. I think it's where most of the brains in the space are working at, and it's the ecosystem that really has people building things, interesting things on top of. So absolutely. I mean, I agree. But did you see today Solana? I don't know what the problem was. I haven't checked back in the last couple of hours, but there was some kind of exploit happening on Solana where some wallets were being drained. You know what happened there? Yeah, I heard about it, but really didn't like. I just saw it on my Twitter feed, a few mentions of that, but I haven't picked on what's going on yet.
Yeah, me too. Never mind. All right, back to the hot take around. And I think the next question is, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
Okay, that's interesting one. When I got into crypto like 1 year-ish ago, like I got full-time into crypto, I was quite bullish on the space and super excited about the problem space. Now I think I eventually, after working on it for a while, I think this thing is inevitable pretty much. I think it will happen. DeFi will happen, and autonomous systems will happen. I think we just solve a very fundamental problem, which is trust. I think we have better technology for trust. I think this is here to stay. I'm fundamentally bullish on it, even if we go to a very dark route and it takes us like a few decades. I think we'll see this technology or something resembling it in the future inevitably. It's just a fundamental thing we have built, and I think it's here to stay, even if our governments don't like it.
I love it. All right, time to zoom out, time to get weird just for a second. What do you see as the long-term future for the human race, João? Do you see a dystopia or utopia?
Yeah, I think it largely depends on us. That's the way I have been approaching that. I think I quite like AI. To my background, I didn't really get deep into the research, but I like to keep myself on top. I still have a few friends that work on research with AI, and it seems like things are getting pretty advanced. I'm not sure if you saw like DALL-E 2.
Yeah.
That's scary already.
Yeah.
I heard that GPT-4, it's getting like really strong, like really impressive. It's all rumors at this point, but eventually it doesn't, like, there's a feeling that we might be not that far already from like this Oracle-like machines that are really good at some specific language processing tasks and things like that. So you're getting that's something that I'm not sure if you read, but there is this super intelligence book by Nick Bostrom.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with who Nick is and his work on everything from kind of singularity style futuristic AI projections. So I know who he is. What's his thesis?
I think he basically outlines a few scenarios, but like the way I have synthesized it is that whenever we build something that's more intelligent than humans, we go exponential from there on, because we have something that's more intelligent than us building the next version of itself. So it's just basically an intelligence explosion. I still think that is like the natural path for things to go. It's quite speculative. We might go into barriers we did not anticipate, but that's the assumption I'm operating under. And sorry.
No, you go. Finish off.
and I can see that both leading utopia and dystopia. Like, we can use those incredible machines and like maybe even like do some kind of symbiosis and things like that. But at that point, we might not be human anymore. Or we can just get into like, I don't know, mass extinction and something like that can go really bad. And I think, like, in the other hand, crypto might be a tool for us to like trustlessly interact with machines and have like this solid network that we all trust, rely, and can operate and know the rules. So part of like what motivates me to wake up and work every day is to give my small contribution in putting like the infrastructure and to like setting things up so we can go to a utopia instead of a dystopia. I think our work, I think, is quite meaningful at this point.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating. Love all that, and I think I agree. I mean, just the advancement of human technology seems to point towards the unstoppable rise of eventually some kind of AI. And then if we reach that point, I think Mr. Bostrom calls it an intelligence explosion. What happens when that goes exponential, and if you're talking about a smarter than human intelligence, then that's why it's called a singularity, because the human brain is not really capable of imagining what is on the other side of that singularity intelligence explosion event. But at the same time, if that is the logical endpoint of evolution, you would have expected it to have occurred somewhere else in the galaxy, if not the galaxy, certainly in the universe. And the fact that we haven't found any evidence of that, maybe there is a filter, the great filter, that something goes wrong with advanced civilizations. Who knows? But man, it's exciting stuff to ponder about. And really, it brings us to our final question, which is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
I don't read that much fiction, to be honest. But my favorite fiction book, I think, was The Fount I Had by Ayn Rand.
Yes.
Those books, I think, had her books had a great impact on me. Like it's very extreme characters, but I think I have learned some important concepts here and there, and it has definitely inspired my journey to become an entrepreneur and to like be a more sovereign as an individual as well.
Yes, indeed. Fountainhead certainly very influential in certain parts of the crypto ecosystem, and the sovereign individual movement as well, I'm sure. Well, we reached the end of the show, João. So thank you very much for coming on the show. Please tell the listeners where they can find you on Twitter or wherever else you like to hang out on the internet, and what they should do if they want to dip their toes into DeFi and start to play around with DeFi Basket.
Okay. So my Twitter is at JOAOAVF. Would love to answer questions and be helpful anyhow I can. So please feel free to connect and DM me. As how to use DeFi Basket, our website is defibasket.org. You need a crypto wallet. It can be a MetaMask. And basically, like we're going to accept deposits in quite a few different coins. We're working on it right now. So if you're Kiwi and has some NZDs, by the time you are listening to this, you'll be able to deposit NZDs directly into DeFi Basket. But yeah, the website is defibasket.org. Please give it a try. If you have any feedback, please let me know. We're still on a beta, but we will launch in the next few months, so keep tuned. Our Twitter is DeFi Basket Labs. Would love to see you there following. And yeah, if you have any feedback, super pumped to hear. And thank you, Andy. It was amazing chat here. I really appreciate the invite and the conversation.
Awesome. Hey, the pleasure was mine. Thank you very much. All the best, and bye for now. All right, there you go. DeFi Basket. DeFi Basket, very interesting indeed. And yeah, just that Solana incident seems to still be ongoing. Still, no one's really quite sure what the issue is, but man, doesn't look good. So I mean, by the time you're listening to this, it will all be resolved, I'm sure. But never a dull moment in crypto. Interesting. All right. Hey, thanks for listening, team. Hope you enjoyed that. I better go because I've got another podcast to record in 11 minutes time. Never stops here at the Crypto Conversation. Thanks for listening. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave and New Coin. See ya.